They laughed the first time they saw the rifle. The jungle air was thick with humidity, pressing against skin and steel alike. As the team prepared for deployment at the edge of the dense canopy, someone muttered the word trash under his breath. It wasn't cruel, just careless. The weapon slung over Lieutenant Arya Vale's shoulder looked older than half the squad, dark wood stock, worn metal, with no digital optics glowing along its frame. It just didn't belong in a world of carbon fiber and cutting-edge precision. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing who's listening. Arya heard the whispers. She always did, but she didn't respond. Her fingers traced the smooth grain of the antique rifle as if she were greeting an old friend. It had been restored meticulously, recalibrated by her own hands over years. Every mechanism was perfectly tuned. Every breath she took was measured against its familiar weight. The jungle swallowed sound, thick vines tangled between towering trees, creating a maze of green and brown. Light filtered through the leaves in fractured, unpredictable patterns, turning the ground into a shifting mosaic of shadow and gold. This was a place where sight and sound could betray you in an instant. Their mission was simple in the briefing, but complicated in reality. A series of unseen snipers had pinned down Allied teams in the region. These were precision shooters who knew the terrain intimately, who used the jungle itself as their camouflage. Modern drones had failed to detect them through the dense canopy. Electronic scopes glitched and fogged up under the intense moisture. All their advanced technology was faltering, but Arya had chosen differently. She had brought a tool that didn't rely on batteries or circuits. As they advanced into the dense foliage, the tension tightened like a drawn bowstring. A sudden, sharp crack split the silence. One of the forward scouts dropped flat, a bullet whizzing just past his head. The shot had come from somewhere high above, impossible to trace in the thick, interwoven branches. The squad scattered for cover. Hearts pounding against their ribs, Arya pressed herself against the trunk of an ancient, moss-covered tree, her heart steady but her mind racing. She calculated the subtle wind shifts by the tremble of leaves on a distant branch. She estimated the distance to the unseen enemy by the echo of the shot as it bounced between the massive tree trunks. Her antique rifle did not rely on thermal imaging or digital readouts. It relied on her. Another shot rang out, closer this time, and you could see the fear flicker in the younger soldier's eyes. They had trained for this, of course, but training rarely carries the scent of wet soil and the metallic taste of adrenaline. The team leader called for repositioning, but any movement meant exposure. They were trapped. That's when Arya made a decision. She turned to the team leader and said quietly, "I'll draw them out." It wasn't recklessness, it was geometry. It was a calculated risk based on skill, not on hope. She slipped away alone, moving deeper into the undergrowth where the shadows were thicker and the air felt heavier. Each step was deliberate, silent, each breath was controlled. For a moment doubt tried to surface. What if the others were right? What if her loyalty to this old weapon was just stubbornness disguised as sentiment? But then she remembered the countless hours spent mastering it, the patience it demanded, the discipline it rewarded. She trusted her training more than she feared the unknown, and then she saw it, a faint glint of light in the distance, a reflection of a scope lens, there, high in the branches, nearly invisible to the untrained eye. She lowered to one knee, the ground soft beneath her, the rifle settled into her shoulder like it belonged nowhere else. There was no digital reticle blinking in her eye, no automated correction to compensate for human error. There was only her, the rifle, and the target. The first shot was clean, a single decisive crack. Silence followed. The jungle itself seemed to inhale, holding its breath. Arya shifted her position immediately, anticipating retaliation. She knew the enemy would be searching for her now, and just as she predicted, another sniper revealed himself through the smallest movement of leaves as he tried to find her. She adjusted her aim by pure instinct, not by algorithm. The second shot was just as clean as the first, then a third. Each time she moved before the confirmation even reached her ears, she wasn't just fighting in the jungle. She was reading it, feeling the rhythm of the terrain, using its own language against her enemies. Back near the original position, her team listened to the distant, rhythmic echoes of her rifle. First there was confusion, then slowly it turned into dawning realization. The incoming fire that had them pinned down had ceased. The jungle fell eerily quiet. The minutes stretched on, feeling like hours. Finally, Arya emerged from the tree line, her face calm, her rifle resting lightly against her shoulder. The jungle, which had been a symphony of terror just moments before, had gone completely silent. No celebration erupted, not immediately. The weight of what had almost happened, the lives that were nearly lost, hung too heavily in the humid air for cheers. The team leader approached her slowly, his eyes searching hers. "How many?" he asked, his voice low. She met his gaze and her response was simple. "All of them." The words didn't carry pride or arrogance, just fact. Later that day, as they secured the area, one of the soldiers who had laughed at her rifle earlier stepped closer. His expression was different now, less amused, more thoughtful. "I misjudged," he admitted, the words quiet but sincere. Arya just gave a small understanding nod. "We all do." She didn't defend the rifle. She didn't glorify what she had done. She simply cleaned the weapon carefully with practiced hands before storing it away. What mattered wasn't the age of the tool, it was the mastery behind it. That evening, as the team regrouped under a clearing sky, they looked at her differently. Not because she had proven them wrong, but because she had proven herself right without any need for humiliation or bitterness. In the quiet aftermath, Arya reflected on the moment she chose to step alone into the jungle. It hadn't been about pride, it had been about trust in her preparation, in her discipline, and ultimately, in herself. This story is a powerful reminder that strength is not always found in what is newest or loudest. Sometimes it rests in patience, in precision, in the quiet confidence built over years of unseen effort. The jungle no longer felt oppressive to her. It felt understood. True capability does not need applause to exist, and real power is never defined by appearances, because in the end, it isn't the weapon that makes the warrior, it's the wisdom behind the trigger. If this story moved you, please tell us where you're watching from and share your thoughts below. Subscribe for more powerful stories of quiet strength and stay tuned for our next video, where we'll explore another tale that proves greatness often looks underestimated at first glance. Thanks for watching.